There are some people who do not just pass through history, they bend it. They shape the course of nations, and their voices echo through time. One of those voices belonged to a woman who challenged not only power, but the very definition of it. Her name is Gro Harlem Brundtland. Born in 1939 in Oslo, Norway, she arrived in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. War was casting its shadow across Europe, and everything was uncertain. But even as a child, Gro had something different in her. An inner spark, a mind that questioned, a spirit that would not settle. Her father was a physician and politician. Her mother, a strong-willed figure who believed deeply in justice. From both of them, Gro inherited a passion not just for knowledge, but for change. She studied medicine, became a doctor, and chose to heal people when the world around her was still healing from war. But soon she saw that healing people wasn't enough. What if she could heal systems, heal nations? She went back to school, studied public health at Harvard, and came out not just with degrees, but with a mission. The world didn't expect her to become a political leader, but she never waited for permission. In 1981, Norway made history. Gro Harlem Brundtland became the country's first female prime minister. A woman at the top of power in a world dominated by men. And she didn't walk in quietly. She entered government with the same force and determination that had carried her through every battle in her life. For many, she wasn't just a leader. She was a symbol, a turning point. But her time in power was never about being the first woman. It was about not being the last. Her cabinet became the most gender-equal government the world had ever seen at that point. Almost half of her ministers were women, and that was just the beginning. She fought for workers' rights, for better health care, for stronger environmental protections. She didn't just pass policies, she changed the national conversation. She brought a doctor's precision into the heart of politics. She believed that if you could diagnose the problem clearly, you could also find a cure. Her opponents called her stubborn, her supporters called her fearless. In a time when many leaders looked only inward, Gro looked outward. She saw that a nation is not an island, that poverty, pollution, inequality, these were not problems trapped by borders, they were human problems, and human problems demand global solutions. So she stepped onto the international stage. And the world listened. In 1983, she was asked to chair the World Commission on Environment and Development, and what she helped create would change the language of global politics forever. The Brundtland Report. It wasn't just a paper, it was a blueprint, a call to action. It gave birth to a new idea, sustainable development. The notion that we must meet the needs of today without compromising the future of our children. The report thundered across the world. For the first time, people in power were forced to confront the truth. Our planet has limits, and we are responsible for protecting it. Gro Harlem Brundtland had become more than a prime minister. She had become the moral conscience of a generation, a doctor who diagnosed the sickness in how we treat the earth and offered a path to healing. But even after her time as Prime Minister ended, she didn't stop. In 1998, she became Director General of the World Health Organization. She led the fight against tobacco, declared war on preventable diseases, and spoke out where others stayed silent. During the SARS crisis, she didn't hide behind committees. She acted decisively, boldly, and once again lives were saved because of her courage. The world kept changing and Gro kept showing up at climate summits, at global conferences, in quiet rooms where the future was being written. She spoke with fire not because she liked the sound of her voice, but because silence was never an option. Even now, her legacy is not only found in books or reports, it lives in the air we breathe, in the forests we preserve, in the voices of every girl who dares to dream of power. She taught us that leadership is not about loud words, but lasting impact. Gro Harlem Brundtland walked into rooms where she wasn't invited and built bridges where others built walls. She didn't just make history, she made the future possible. This is the story of a woman who turned the tide, a doctor who healed not just bodies but nations, a leader who taught the world to care not just for power, but for people, for the planet, and for tomorrow. Gro Harlem Brundtland did not ask for greatness. She earned it. And because she dared to rise, the world can now imagine a future where every voice matters, where every child breathes cleaner air, and where leadership comes not from strength alone, but from wisdom, compassion, and courage.